Listen to me, young man. Don't breathe too deep. If you gulp that air like you're at a beach in Bali, you're finished. At minus 50 degrees, the moisture in your breath doesn't just condense, it flash freezes. It turns into microscopic shards of ice, literal glass needles that shredded your bronchial lining with every panicked gasp. Short, shallow breaths through your nose. Let the membranes warm the air before it hits your core. That's Survival 101 in the Kolyma Range. Log number 04. Look at my hands. These weathered leather gloves were my best friends in the desert. But here, they're just fancy skin bags for 10 frozen carrots. The cold isn't just a temperature here, it's a physical predator. It's searching for a millimeter of exposed skin, a loose seam in your jacket, a moment of weakness. It wants to strip the heat from your blood at 20 times the speed of a normal winter day. That's convective cooling. And out here in this whiteout, it's currently winning. The blizzard is closing the window. My visibility is down to 2 meters. If we stay out here another 10 minutes, we won't be surviving. We'll be permanent landmarks, statues of ice for the Siberian wolves to sniff at. But look there, rising out of the white chaos like the ribcage of a dead god. That's it, an abandoned Soviet-era iron mine. It's an architectural tomb built by men who are much tougher and much more desperate than you'll ever be. See the rusted archway? The Cyrillic letters are almost buried under layers of hoarfrost, but they say Sector 0. It's a dark, yawning throat of concrete and jagged iron. It looks like the entrance to hell, but right now, it's the only sanctuary on this god-forsaken tundra. Don't touch the railing with your bare palm. At this temperature, the moisture on your skin will create an instantaneous thermal bond. You'll leave your palm behind on that iron like a sticky note. Follow me. Step over the threshold. We're leaving the white nightmare for a black one. At least in the dark, the wind can't find us. But keep your eyes sharp. The mind doesn't like visitors, and it's been waiting a long time to breathe its frozen breath on someone new. In Siberia, silence is a warning. If you stop hearing the wind, it means you've either found shelter or your ears are frozen solid and fallen off. Let's hope it's the former. Step light. Each footfall needs to be a question, not a statement. You don't just walk into a Soviet-era iron mine, you negotiate with it. Log number 04, Part 2. We've traded the white death for the black silence. It's actually colder in here. Outside, the wind moves the air, but in here, the air is stagnant. It's a heat sink. These concrete walls and iron struts have been soaking up the sub-zero Siberian frost for 40 years. They don't just exist, they actively pull the warmth out of your marrow like a hungry ghost. Watch the flame. If it turns blue or starts to dance like it's choking, we run. This far down, the ghost of the deep, methane and carbon dioxide, likes to pool in the low spots. You won't smell it. You'll just feel a bit sleepy, a bit heavy, and then you'll become a permanent resident of Sector 0. Keep your head up. Gas is heavy. Oxygen is a luxury. Hear that? That's the sound of 80,000 tons of Siberian rock being held up by rusted iron and a prayer. Soviet engineering was built to last, but even the strongest steel gets brittle fracture at these temperatures. One wrong vibration, one loud shout, and the whole ceiling decides it wants to meet the floor. That's just the ice quake. The moisture inside the rock is freezing and expanding, literal mountain-shattering pressure. It sounds like the mine is alive, doesn't it? Don't let the shadows play tricks on your eyes. Your brain is already starving for glucose because it's burning everything just to keep your heart twitching. Now, look down. See that dark glass-like sheen on the floor? That's black ice. It's not just slippery, it's a razor.
You fall on that and you'll find out just how fast frozen skin can tear. We need to find the old foreman's office. If we're lucky, there's a kerosene heater that hasn't rusted through. If we're unlucky, well, at least the cold will keep us well preserved for whoever finds us in 100 years.
Keep your hand on the wall. Follow the rust, and for heaven's sake, don't stop moving. If you stop, you die. That's the only rule in the silent mines. In the dark, your ears become your eyes. If you hear a high-pitched pinging sound, that's the iron supports under tension. If you hear a low grumble, that's the mountain moving. If you hear someone whispering your name, that's just the hypothermia talking. Ignore her. Stay close to the wall. The center of the tunnel is where the ceiling is weakest. Every step we take deeper into this gut of the mountain, we're stepping back in time. Log number 04, part 3. We found what's left of the staging area. Look at this. A wall of lockers, frozen shut under an inch of translucent ice. It looks like a museum of a world that ended 40 years ago. See that poster on the wall? It's a Soviet safety warning. Ironic, considering the mountain probably swallowed the guys who put it up. Look at your hands. Are you fumbling? Are your fingers moving like they're made of lead? That's the umbles. Stumble, mumble, fumble. It's stage 2 hypothermia knocking on the door. Your brain is starting to reroute blood from your limbs to your vital organs. It's a survival mutiny. Your own body is deciding your fingers are optional equipment. Here we go. The foreman's office. It's a time capsule. Look at the desk. There's a half-empty cup of tea that's now a solid block of brown ice. A calendar from 1984. They didn't leave, they fled. You don't leave your favorite coat on the back of a chair unless something bigger than the cold is coming for you. Bingo. Bingo. A portable kerosene heater. It's a Soviet Corona model, built like a tank and twice as heavy. But smell that? The fuel has gelled. At these temperatures, kerosene doesn't flow. It becomes a thick, useless syrup. We need to warm the fuel tank before we can even think about a spark. Sit down. No, not on the metal chair. Sit on the wooden crates. Metal is a heat thief. We're going to use the body heat bank method. We wrap our arms around the fuel tank, use our own fading warmth to liquefy the fuel. It's a gamble. We give the heater some of our life, and we pray it gives it back tenfold once the wick catches. Don't close your eyes. The sleep of the snows is a seductive lie. It feels like a warm bath, like your mother tucking you in, but it's just the neurons in your brain misfiring as they freeze. Keep talking to me. Tell me about that ultimate survival course again. Did they teach you how to hug a 50-year-old kerosene tank in the dark while a mountain tries to crush you? No? Huh. Well, that's why you have me. In a deep freeze, your gear is only as good as its operating temperature. If your fuel gels, your stove is just a very expensive paperweight. Always keep your primary ignition source and your fuel as close to your body as possible. You are the battery that keeps your survival kit running. Is it warm yet? I can't feel my sternum anymore, but I can hear the slosh. That's the sound of life. The kerosene is waking up. Log number 04, part 4. We're about to commit the ultimate survival sin, lighting a fire in a confined, poorly ventilated space. In a normal world, this is how you end up as a headline about carbon monoxide poisoning. But out here, where the air is -50, normal died a long time ago. We have to choose between a quick sleep from the fumes or a slow, agonizing crystallization from the frost. I'll take the fumes every time. At least they're warm. Look at that. A breathy, relieved laugh. That's the blue flare. It's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see in a tomb like this. But don't get too comfortable. Watch the edges of the flame. If it starts to flicker orange and produce thick, oily smoke, It means the wick is dirty and we're breathing in pure poison. See what I'm doing? We're cracking the door. I know, it feels like we're letting the devil back in, but we need a lung line, a steady stream of fresh, freezing oxygen to balance out the devil's kiss of the kerosene exhaust. Survival is rarely about being comfortable. It's about managing your trade-offs. We trade 10 degrees of warmth for the ability to keep our blood from turning into acid. Look at the frost on your jacket. It's starting to weep. It's melting. That's a win. But don't let it soak through to your base layer. If your clothes get wet and that heater fails, you'll turn into a human ice cube in 60 seconds. Humidity is your hidden assassin in the Arctic. Steady. Steady? Did you feel that? That wasn't an ice quake. That was structural. The heat from our little stove is rising, hitting the frozen ceiling and causing the moisture in the rock to expand. We're thawing the very ceiling that's supposed to protect us. A grim chuckle. Irony is a recurring theme in my logs, isn't it? We've got heat, but now we've turned the mountain into a ticking time bomb. We can't stay here long. Ventilation is non-negotiable. If you're using a fuel-burning heater in a small space, you need a cross-draft. If you start feeling a headache or your vision gets sparkly, you aren't seeing stars, you're seeing the end. Get out, even if it means freezing. Dead is dead, regardless of the temperature. Grab the heater, move it, now! Log number 04, part 5. We've just learned a very expensive lesson in thermodynamics. In a normal cave, heat is your friend. In a Siberian iron mine frozen for 40 years, heat is a demolition crew. The moisture in these walls has been acting like a frozen glue, holding the rock together. We add our little blue flare, the ice expands, and the mountain starts to talk back. And believe me, when a mountain talks, you listen. Welcome to the Frozen Gallery. This is the central artery of Sector 0. Look at the scale of this place. Those giant iron wheels over there? Those are the ore lifts. They're encased in a layer of hoarfrost so thick they look like ghost ships trapped in a glacier. Wait, stop. A sharp, authoritative whisper. Check your layers. Reach inside your jacket. Is your shirt damp? If you're sweating, we're in trouble. In the desert, sweat is your radiator. In Siberia, sweat is your shroud. It's called flash sweat. The moment we stop moving, that moisture will pull the heat out of your core like a vacuum. You're not just fighting the mine now, you're fighting your own biology. Look at the walls here. They aren't just rock anymore. They're covered in ice feathers, delicate, crystalline structures that have grown molecule by molecule for decades. It's beautiful, right? Wrong. It's a sign of zero airflow. This gallery is a dead air zone. The oxygen we're breathing right now is all we've got until we find a ventilation shaft that isn't choked with ice. Hear that? That's the deep frost. The mine is settling. We need to find the old rail line. It'll lead us to the lower ventilation shafts where the air might be moving. But keep your hand on the railing. Use contact navigation. In this much darkness, your eyes will start to hallucinate. They'll see lights, people, doors that aren't there. Your brain is trying to make sense of the void. Trust your hands, not your head.
Keep the heater low. We don't want the heat rising too fast and waking up those icicles above us. Those things are 400-pound spears of frozen iron water. One ice drip on the head and this log ends very abruptly. The sweat trap is the #1 killer in the sub-zero deep. If you're working hard enough to sweat, you're working too hard. De-layer before you get hot. It's better to be slightly shivering while moving than to be soaking wet when you have to stop. Your base layer is your last line of defense. Keep it bone dry. Don't look up yet. You'll just get a face full of needle-sharp frost and a direct view of your own fear. Log number 04, part 6. We found the main ventilation shaft, but the mountain has a sick sense of humor. What used to be a vertical air passage for the miners has become a 300-foot frozen waterfall. The groundwater from the upper levels has been leaking and freezing for decades, layer by layer, creating what I call the Ice Cathedral. It's beautiful, isn't it? Like a giant organ made of glass. But look closer at those pipes. Those are massive ice curtains, some of them weighing tons, hanging by a thread of frozen tension. We have to climb this. The air in the gallery behind us is getting thin. I can feel the altitude headache starting to squeeze my temples. Up there, where the ice is thinner and the light is a pale ghostly blue, that's where the world still breathes. We don't have fancy crampons or carbon fiber ice axes. We have this, a rusted handpick and some heavy-duty iron chain. We're going to wrap the chain around our boots to create improvised teeth. It's crude, and it'll ruin your soles, but it's the only way to bite into this blue ice. Now listen. We're going to use 3-point contact, 2 feet, 1 hand, always. Before you shift your weight, you make damn sure your anchor is solid. If you feel the ice shudder or hear a sound like a violin string snapping, freeze. Don't breathe. That's the ice adjusting to your weight. If you panic and kick, the whole curtain could peel off the wall and take us back to the bottom in a very flat, very dead pile.
The biggest danger isn't just the fall, it's pump out. Your forearms are gonna burn. The cold will make your muscles stiffen until they feel like dry clay. Once your grip fails, it doesn't come back. You have to climb with your legs, not your arms. Use your skeleton to support your weight. One step at a time. Don't think about the 200 feet below you. Think about the 2 inches in front of your face. Siberia doesn't give trophies for speed. It only gives life to those who are too stubborn to let go. The rule of 3. In vertical survival, never move a limb until the other 3 are locked. On ice, lock means testing the surface. If the ice sounds hollow, a clunk instead of a thud, it's a shell. Don't trust it. Find the blue ice. That's the dense, ancient stuff that will hold your life. My heart is hitting my ribs like a trapped bird, and I can taste copper in the back of my throat. That's the taste of absolute exhaustion. Don't swallow it. Use it. Log number 04, part 7. We've reached the summit of the Ice Cathedral. We're standing on the maintenance grade of the primary ventilation outflow. We should be looking at the stars, or at least the gray Siberian sky. But look up. A dry, hacking cough. Nothing but a solid white ceiling of packed snow and ice. The blizzard didn't just cover the exit, it buried it under a 10-foot drift of wind slab. Hear that? That's not fluffy powder, that's sintered snow. The wind has packed the crystals together so tightly they've bonded into natural masonry. We're in a pressurized tomb now. The heater we left below is still off-gassing, and the oxygen in this small pocket is being replaced by our own carbon dioxide. If we don't break through in the next 10 minutes, we aren't going to wake up. Dig. Use your hands if you have to. But listen, dig at an angle, not straight up. If you dig straight up, the whole drift could collapse and pin us against the grate. We need to create a chimney. And for God's sake, don't eat the snow to quench your thirst. It'll drop your core temperature faster than the air will. Melt it in your mouth first, or better yet, just endure the dry. The air is getting thick. Can you feel it? Your head feels like it's in a vice. That's the CO2 buildup. Your instinct is to pant, to gasp. Don't. You'll just pass out faster. Slow, rhythmic, focus on the pick. Every strike is a breath. Every inch is a minute of life. There. A triumphant, wheezing laugh. Do you hear that whistle? That's the pressure equalizing. That's the Siberian wind screaming through the first hole we've made. That's the most beautiful sound in the world. It means the world is still out there. Heave! One last push. Snow choke.
When digging out of a burial, always keep your air pocket clear around your face. If the snow collapses, that tiny space of air is the difference between a controlled dig and a panic-induced suffocation. And remember, the moment you break the surface, turn your back to the wind. If you inhale a direct blast of minus 50 degrees Celsius air, you can trigger a laryngospasm. Your throat will literally lock shut to protect your lungs, and you'll choke on the very air you fought to reach. Out of the hole! Move! Don't let the snow settle in your collar. Log number 04, the final chapter. We're out of the black silence, but the white death is waiting to welcome us home. My internal clock says we've been underground for 14 hours. My body says we've been dead for 3. Look at the horizon, that thin, bruised purple line. That's the Siberian dawn. It doesn't bring warmth. It just lets you see the vastness of the place that's trying to kill you.
Stay on my heels. Don't look at the stars. Look at my back. We're heading for the Watcher's Shack, 2 kilometers due north. It's a tiny wooden box built for the Moor Guards back in the 60s. If the roof hasn't collapsed, there's an old R-105 emergency beacon inside. It's a dinosaur, powered by a hand-cranked generator. But out here, old tech is the only tech that doesn't care about the cold. Wait, do you feel that? That sudden, beautiful warmth spreading through your chest? Like someone just poured a cup of hot cocoa into your soul. Don't trust it. That's the dragon's breath, the final stage of hypothermia. Your surface capillaries are giving up, dilating, sending the last of your core blood to your skin. It's a lie. If you start feeling like you want to take your coat off, I will personally knock you unconscious. Stay cold. Stay miserable. Cold means you're still alive. Here, under the bench. The Devil's Music Box. It's a hand-cranked Soviet radio beacon. Crank it. Put your weight into it. We need to send the SOS on the 121.5 frequency. The signal is weak, but the Kolyma patrol listens for this specific ghost in the machine. There, the pulse of life. Now we wait. This is the hardest part, the final mile syndrome. Your brain thinks the job is done because we're inside 4 walls. It'll try to shut down your heart to save energy. Keep your eyes open. If you close them, you're choosing to stay in Siberia forever. Do you hear that? That's not the wind playing tricks. That's a Me-8 hip rescue bird. Look at you. You actually survived. You're a walking miracle, or just too stupid to know when to quit. Either way, you get to live to see log 05. Stay smart. Stay shivering. I'm going to sleep for 1,000 years. The paradoxical heat. Never forget, the moment you feel warm in a deep freeze, you are minutes from death. It's the body's final surrender. The final mile is won in the mind, not the muscles. If you can keep your brain screaming at your body to move, your heart has no choice but to follow. Siberia didn't take us today. Let's not give it a second chance.